Well. Welcome, everybody. There's only a couple of us here right now. I guess more people will be tuning in. We were supposed to have Pat King joining us tonight. I went and seen him at a fundraiser yesterday in Newmarket, and he said he'd come on, but wasn't sure if he could make 9 o'clock. Stefanos, on the other hand, very, very busy guy. He's out on a mission. Where did he call me from today? I think he's somewhere around Dundalk or Grand Bend, Goderich area. Apparently, there's people out there that are still getting harassed by the RCMP. So we're going to be bringing to you something there. And apparently, in some of these small towns, they're also playing against people that are looking for accountability with their city councilors. So interesting how these commies are going to be doing what they do. Hey, JJ, hey, Radar. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? I don't know what to add. I really expected Pat King to join me tonight. He's never let me down so far. Maybe he'll still come in a few minutes. What else is there to talk about? Oh, they're going to be ramming in Bill C3. So people that have been here for 6 months over the last few years become Canadian citizens, and 3 generations back also become Canadian citizens. Isn't that lovely? Did you get a haircut or combed your hair back at? I got a haircut last week, so yeah, that's what's going on with that. But enough about me. Who cares about me? Just another guy trying to get the truth out, expecting to be in jail soon. Bill C8, Bill C9, take your pick. You guys got any questions for me? What's going on? Who's going to the farmers' protest this weekend? And does anybody know who's organizing this farmers' protest? It's almost like it came out of nowhere. How was hunting? Spring bear in June was awesome. Second day I showed up. I got my standard size black bear. Moose hunting, our gang only got, we shot at one bull moose. There were 6 of us up in our northern Ontario. One of the guys was shooting. I got to teach you to knock on the door before you come in. Excuse me, guys. My dog's letting itself in. Be right back. Come on in. Stay in the house. Come in. You know, you're a little too smart for your own good. Well, here, if you're going to interrupt the show, come. Bubba, come. Bubba, come. Up. 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 There you go. There's the interruption. You look at the cameras that way. Anyways. And of course, right between my feet. Yeah, so for the 7 days of hunting, we only seen one bull. We're calling like crazy, and not too lucky moose hunting this year, which is quite unusual for us because we usually get at least 1, if not 2. And I was talking to some of the natives on the way home. Northern Ontario, they were complaining there's too many bears, and they're not doing that well with moose. So they're going to be, some of them will be going a little hungry this winter. But the natives, they can go, the real natives can go shoot what they want, when they want, however they want. You don't like anchor babies. What are you going to do? We've got tyrants, people that hate our country in Ottawa. Fellow Canadians voted these people in. Nobody went, and not enough people went and scrutinized the election. This is what you get. Also, no farmers are part of that convoy, just grifters. What convoy? What's with Asia buying out BC? If you're talking about China buying up gas plants in northern British Columbia, actually, Pat King was one of the guys that broke that story many, many years ago. You need to speak is it Mandarin or Cantonese to get a job there, mandatory. It's all being built with Chinese steel. All the equipment's from China. All the labor's from China. Harper approved Chinese military to watch over these installations and these projects. So yeah, we've got Chinese people in British Columbia, and I'm sure that's not the only one. That's probably the only one we're aware of. I've also heard rumors that there's Chinese people, Chinese companies, corporations drilling in the St. Lawrence. Did you know we got a lot of oil in the St. Lawrence Basin? I was talking to a oil exploration guy when I was in Costa Rica, and he says, "Man, you got no idea how much oil we got here in Canada. We got lots, probably the most in the world." And he says the St. Lawrence Basin is loaded with it. So there's no reason why Quebec needs transfer payments. None at all. They just got to sink a few oil wells in there. Meanwhile, people go in Hibernia off of Newfoundland and they drill out there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean where it's quite dangerous. Strange year, very warm. Fall was kind of warm. Yeah, it was a bit weird. I don't know if the weather has that much of an effect because we've shot moose on beautiful, sunny, warm days. It's usually in the bush. They still move around in the bush, and they do come to water. Actually, natives treaties, the guaranteed hunting rights, that's stuff that's been signed off on back in the 17 and 1800s. So they're hunting for moose in the wild back then. Let them do it now. I got no problem with that. They were here before us. That's the deal that the British monarchy made with us and them. And that's why we didn't shoot all the Indians like they did in the States, where they were constantly having issues with the natives. You know, the natives were supposed to get upper Michigan Peninsula also, but the Crown kind of negotiated that away. What do you got here? Canada's resource colony for the world to take advantage of. It seems that way, but it shouldn't be. But there's a lot of exploitation going on in Africa, and why would it happen in Canada? We've got idiots in Ottawa. I don't know, maybe idiot is a little too generous. I wouldn't want to insult the idiots. We have so much oil in Canada, third largest known, let alone the spots we've yet to explore and get to. If you factor in how much is in the St. Lawrence Basin, we've got the most oil in Canada, in the world. JJ, Chinese have huge towns in Midwest America. Would not surprise me. I can't verify that. I haven't seen it. I did drive up through, where did we go through? Windsor South to Tennessee that time, the last fall. That was about a year ago when the big hurricane. Remember when they directed that hurricane from the Caribbean and it went smack dab in the middle of basically redneck country up into the hills and stuff? They had tornadoes, they had crazy winds, flooding. People lost their lives. Houses were washed off of their footings. It was over 100 miles of railway tracks. It was following one of the creek beds there, or river beds. That got wiped out and destroyed. You killed the bison off? Okay. Canada resource calling for the world to take advantage of. Yeah, we know that. Look at the American tribes now using UNDRIP in BC. Americans have been playing Canadian politics, and again, too bad Pat King wasn't on tonight to explain this to us. Remember when the Nusawatan or whatever, they're trying to stop that pipeline from going through back in British Columbia? Those were fake Indians or pretendians, and they were heavily sponsored and paid for by George Soros foundations and American oil interests. So the idea was if they can slow down or shut down the oil exploration and export here in Canada, American companies will have there'll be less oil on the market. American companies, when they start drilling, they'll have higher prices. And we did see higher prices at the fuel pumps and on the world markets. So that was all manipulated. I don't know if the Muslims own Dearborn, but last time I was in I was in Dearborn, Michigan. I went to buy some books when I was in college down at St. Clair College. And we went to Dearborn, myself and a good buddy of mine, to buy some books that were not, this was before Amazon. Yes, there was a time when there was no Amazon, people. Back in 99, 2000. You had to go into a bookstore to buy books. These the reference books. I think Windows was only a version, I don't know, Windows 95 was coming out, 95. It was quite popular up until 2000. And then they had Windows 2000 and whatever. Angela, Cantonese is the lingua franca, working language of China. China and India buying out buildings, people, land for extorted prices. More. They overtake Vancouver and northern BC. Natives call it colonization a second time. Yeah, and we're getting colonized too because we've got I don't know. My parents were immigrants to this country, but when they came here, there was no such thing as welfare. You had to pay to join the to get hospital benefits or go see a doctor. It was $30 a month, I believe it was. Back when you were making less than $1 an hour, or a good wage was less than $1 an hour, I believe. I went to $2 an hour. You paid $30 a month, then you got your OHIP card. You didn't pay your OHIP. You weren't allowed at the hospital or a doctor, maybe under emergency circumstances, but we pretty much self-funded our own medical system back then. And then the 1980s, I believe, it would have been about 1980s, they said, okay, the businesses and government will start paying for it, and then it was just the government just pay for it itself. Who's throwing rocks? I don't know. If I had a native land that was mine, or I thought it was mine, or I had treaties and I says this is ours, and someone goes and puts a pipeline through and they're being careless about it, I'd be pissed off too. Who knows what kind of deal they made? Us as the peon Canadians, we never actually get to see the details, do we? They hide all this from us. Carney is enriching America by making deals on behalf of Brookfield, not on behalf of the Canadian people. Carney is enriching Carney, and his bosses are the banksters. Who do you think owns the majority of shares in Brookfield? He gets, he's just a puppet. Does he have a brain? Well, I kind of doubt it. It's more like a straw man brain. He takes his orders, he does what he's told. And when you sit on the board of directors, if you got a lot of shares, you want to do the best thing you can for your company. And that's what he's doing. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of something called conflict of interest. We used to have conflict of interest rules in this country. People used to enforce it. Used to get kicked out of the government. You could even go to court, even go to jail once upon a time for conflict of interest. Now, what is conflict of interest? For those of you that have forgotten, and I know it's not taught in schools, I think they cover it for maybe an hour in political science. So they don't give a shit about it either. That's the way communists work. Enrich yourselves. When you work for the government, you are for the government and for yourself. That's why they have conflict of interest rules. So say I have my wife is in the business of making printing forms. Well, if I approve her quotes for printing forms, you will benefit and I will benefit. So that's a conflict of interest. If you have any interest in something yourself, if it's something you worked on, if it's something you're going to benefit from, you're supposed to abstain from that vote. That's what conflict of interest rules are for. It's supposed to be fairer for the country. And even when I was in student council there in Centennial College, I worked hard to bring in $10 beers for pub night. So I had to go buy plastic jugs. I submitted the quote. Student council had to vote if we were going to spend students' money on buying these plastic pitchers for pub night or not. I abstained from the vote because I worked on the project. I had the quotes and I located the mugs for the $10 draft. So I abstained. Also, the budget for the bands. Sometimes I'd book the bands. I'd put everything in front of the student council. There's about 15, 20 of us, different department heads throughout Centennial College. And if I worked on a project, I abstained from the vote. That made it clear that I had no conflict of interest. So they did teach it in college, and in student council, we used to ask if anyone's got a conflict of interest, please bring it forward before we do the vote, and it worked pretty good, I must say. For student council, we had movies in lunchtime in the not in the cafeteria, in the lecture halls. So we used to get B movies, and kids would watch these stupid movies. And people would ask for stuff, and we'd get it for them. That was back in before VCR days. In big rolls, we'd have to roll the movies. Yeah, things are pretty good there, and we all volunteered. Yep, this Palestinian thing is the real problem, and the reason why neighboring Palestinian countries don't want to take Palestinians because they consistently disrupt society. That's not me saying that. That's what I've heard from. Speak to the Jordanian people; they'll tell you what happens when you bring in Palestinians. Lebanon which is to the north of Palestine or Israel, used to be known as the Paris of the Middle East, and they started letting in Palestinians, and they've been at war now for 30 years. So what can I say? It speaks for itself, and we're bringing them here. Why? Cause chaos. Back then, there were no vote blocks, banks, as everyone was considered Canadian first. Now it's all just pandering to every ethnic minority group. Look, guys, my parents were immigrants. They came to Canada when there was basically with very little. My mom was sponsored by her uncle. My dad came because someone there was guaranteed jobs waiting for him. It was an in-demand trade. Didn't know the language, but he was quite handy, quite skilled, as did many of his friends. But nobody got free babysitting. Nobody would consider ever taking a handout. You'd starve first before taking a handout. Nobody asked anything of the government. All they asked for was a chance to prove themselves, work their asses off, as many of our viewers and their parents um, went through the same thing. There was a sense of national pride, and you were happy to come to a land of opportunity. There was lots of work in Canada. There's a lot to get done. These people did it all. Get a load of this. Union worker was only paying 10% income tax back in the day. There was no sales tax, no GST, no HST, no Ontario sales tax. None. And then you guys wonder why you can't save any money or why standard of living is so high? Government also back in 1962, I believe the government was only 14% of the economy. Now it's over 50. If the oil flows and natural gas is shipped, we become very prosperous as a nation and a people once again. No, we don't. Not at all. Where'd you get that idea from? That's the way it works in Saudi Arabia. That's the way it worked in Libya. We don't. In Alaska, they get a dividend, but I think they even canceled that. If the governments were honest, yeah, we probably would. But there's too many greedy people in Ottawa. Again, I was explaining to you guys earlier. When you work for the government, It's all about how much money you can shove in your pocket and in your fellow government's pocket and doing what the boss tells you to do. So that's the way that works. It doesn't work like that in Canada. Never has, never will. Besides, the Queen owns everything, or the King. King Chucky owns everything. All the crown land, that's all his. Fuck treaties that were made before gas combustion engines. Come on. I don't know. I'm a man of my word. If I make a deal, I'll honor it on a handshake. I don't even need a contract. But yeah, these treaties are put in place. We have to honor them. And they're not bad treaties. You get $5 a year. There was no inflation adjustment, so that was a little bit crooked. They could have written a better deal, but again, they could have also been slaughtered by the French and English military also, if the Queen would have had more soldiers at the time. JJ, conflict of interest are still laws, but all organizations that can act on it are bought and paid for by the criminals. Well, I'm talking about conflict of interest in government. Hashem, saying a Canadian national anthem is forbidden now while raising the Palestinian flag is okay? You're kidding, right? This can't be real. If other Muslim countries won't take them, why would we? Why? Because they're a useful tool. Look over here, not over there. Concern yourselves with this. Look at the crimes that are going on in Palestine. And it actually is a crime. Interesting how some Jews claim we will never forget or never forget. That's their slogan. And yet here they are doing the exact same damn thing right in their own backyard. So I don't care how you slice it. It's wrong to genocide people. It was wrong in former Yugoslavia, but it was wrong in Russia. But you never hear about that now, do you? You never hear about Holodomor, how they blame the farmers for being I forget the word. You'd have to ask an Antifa, but they've got a word for it. But someone that worked the land and stewarded the land and raised his family and worked his ass off and had food, he was the bad guy. Well, and then the state comes in and they take all your stuff, just like's happening here. Your pockets are getting picked clean. We pay sales taxes like crazy. Look at all the government corruption. They're stealing money hand over fist. Money's disappearing. No one's held accountable. It's our money that's getting stolen. It's our tax dollars that are getting stolen. Resource-backed currency, no more fiat currency. The Crown Corp needs to go, which means the constitutional monarchy. Boy, is that a can of worms. Constitutional monarchies actually worked pretty good. It's what built this country, and we've done pretty well with it. Is it still effective? I don't know. It's hard to say. If you look back in the 60s and 70s, we had industry in the Golden Horseshoe. Alberta was actually suffering back then, 40s, 50s, 60s after the Dust Bowl. Ontario was making so much money, we had lots to give to other provinces, and we actually did support Alberta. Now it's the other way around. Through stupid policies of globalism, we outsourced a lot of our jobs. Most of our manufacturing was outsourced. The trades went down, the skills went down, the education went down. Guys, I was a solid D student in high school. Solid D. I go to college after having an accident about 6-7 years later. How am I getting 4.0 GPAs? I was in construction. I didn't study a lick. And then suddenly I'm getting, perfect scores in math, English, history, technical courses through and through. Okay, sure, I was 12 years older, but that's just 12 years I spent on construction. Did I get smarter? No. Did the standards get dumber? Lower? Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, big time. And that was under McGinty and who's the other commie bastard? Bob Ray, the NDP. They lowered the standards too. Uniforms testing. Teachers complaining. Oh, it's too hard to teach the kids. Well, back in the 60s and 70s, we had some of the best education in the world. We had we built the Avro Aero in Malton. That was a Canadian design. World class, ahead of its time. That's what good education does. And quite frankly, you got to thank all those British and German engineers that came over after the Second World War for that, because they brought all that know-how. But communists get into power, lowest common denominator. Education standards goes to shit. Our standard of living goes to shit along with it. Our wages go to hell too. People can't save. Taxes go sky high. Congratulations, Antifa, you dumbasses. You ruined the country. And yeah, I'm blaming you guys, Antifa. You don't need anyone but Canadians owning Canadian land. It's not crown land. Those illegitimate, inbred, child molesting royals. Be that as it may, when Canada was empty, you ever heard the term might makes right? Was the British royalty, the British military that came in and fought against the Americans. If you're going to have a king or a queen, you got to have a standing army. Otherwise, they'll topple you. So I don't even want to topple the current government. You got to make a standing army or do it from inside. If you look at all the immigrants that are sitting in the House of Commons these days, they're doing it from the inside. It's a crime and embarrassing to be a real Canadian. You know what? They've redefined what it means to be a Canadian, so I don't even know what that is anymore. Imagine now we're begging for jets from other countries, laugh out loud. Oh, yeah. Mark Carney's apparently is going to axe the F-35s that we purchased, or that Trudeau purchased a few years ago, that Harper originally purchased. But I don't know. We're supposed to get Super 18s, but so now they're working on a deal where we're going to be it's a Griffin Typhoon, I believe, which is made by Saab or in Sweden. So that's why the Swedish king was here last week. They kept that kind of quiet too. Don't want to tip off the Americans, eh? A very loud plane. Well, there was the French and English, and the French funded the U.S. to fight the English to become Americans. Yet here we are as peasants to the crown. Yeah, but it wasn't always that way. Serfs to the crown, maybe. That's where we're going. Yeah, so maybe we'll have Swedish airplanes here in Canada. Hopefully they'll be competitive. We're going to need that titanium, though. Comes out of Russia. How are you going to get your hands on that? The Liberals are offering citizenship to people who were in Canada for a short time before leaving the country for elsewhere. Correct. Argentina, you got to live there for 2 or 3 years nonstop, uninterrupted. You're not allowed to leave before you can even apply for a residency, I believe. In Canada, if you come and you visit, I think it's a year over the last 10, so 365 days. Don't quote me on this. This is what I think, if memory serves me. Over the last 10 years, you can qualify for citizenship. Not residency, full-blown citizenship with a passport. And it goes back 3 generations. Not just you. 3 generations of family members. So if you think you're only got to wait 12 to 15 hours for emergency in a hospital, let's see that go to 3 or 4 days in the near future. And yeah, they're asking for another 500,000 Chinese to come next year to come to Canada. So they say they're slowing down. No, they're just playing. It's a numbers game. Why do you think our debt's going to go sky high and the dollar's going to be worthless? It's really what you got to pay $1.50 now to buy $1 American dollar. And the American dollar is not even that strong in the world currency. That's why gold is up there. That's why silver's up there. It really hasn't gone up that much. But if you look at the value of our dollar and the American dollar, their value has come down a lot. Look at the buying power you got. 100 years ago, an ounce of gold will buy you a very, very nice suit, shoes, shirt, tie. And $4,500, you're going to get a very nice tailored suit, shoes, tie, shirt. So it's not that the price of gold is going up. Silver is undervalued, sure. But they need that for solar and making bombs. So that's why they got to keep that low. And they'll keep slamming it lower if they can. I do hold silver, quite a bit of it actually. And I know one day it's going to break free and be actually worth what it should be. Maybe even more. Some people are saying 1-to-1 ounce of gold for an ounce of silver. Wouldn't that be nice? Whether or not it happens in my lifetime, doubt it. I haven't dug into this, but I've heard many rumors on Canada being a crown corporation. So, yeah, the government is a crown corporation. And we've kind of been misled saying the government loves us. They don't. They're just, they got to fill their own pockets and the pockets of their friends and whoever else they can send money to. Excuse me. So yeah, it does work like a corporation. If you think you got all these people sitting on the board, and then there's also the Senate, and it's mirrored kind of like could be. There's corporations that are mirrored kind of like our government. You've got your president, CEO, chief financial officer. These are all elected positions. You've got shareholders that own, buy shares in the corporation. They elect who sits on the board. The more shares you own, if they're voting shares, the more shares you own, the more votes you get. You get to control what happens with the company or see who sits on the board. There's usually a dozen board members. They're all accountable to the shareholders at the end of the day. So you see how it kind of feeds itself. And we think, well, the government, you're supposed to be a better person. You go there, you volunteer your time. Meanwhile, they're making money hand over fist. You go sit on a few committees, get even extra money for sitting on those. So that's how you can get guys like Trudeau that are worth what? Daddy left them, it's $16 million. Here he is 6 years or 7 years later. He's worth $180 million that we know of. Well, he got lots of insider trading, probably got told to buy the, what was it, those mononucleic acid that was used in the jabs. And then every person that took a jab or every jab that was produced and sold, Trudeau got his cut. So, of course, he's going to promote them. Not a plane, not a train, not a car, not between provinces. Unless you've been jabbed, you're not going to infect other people. Yeah, sure. And people fell for it. All right, guys, any other questions? Anything else I can help you with? Anything else we should discuss? Put it in the chat. I'm going to text Pat one more time. I don't think he's going to be showing up. And nope, nothing from Pat. I'll give him one more call here. You know what? Kevin is very, very busy. Kind of hate to bug him. His phone's on. Don't know what's going on. I know he was going up to Sioux to visit family today. Guess not. Anyways, guys, what else we got here? Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. That's another thing Pat would have explained to us. They went to court. They used Rebel Media lawyers, I believe, or some other lawyers, but Rebel helped them with the funding. I try to stay away from Rebel as much as I can because I don't trust those guys further than I can throw them. In my opinion, I think they're paid opposition. Someone's paying them. Whenever they're doing a story, look the other way because you know they're going to be on the wrong side of it in most cases. So the Crown is appealing Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. They are going back to court. They are looking for more time or higher fines, or they want to take Chris's truck. They want to send the signal. You got to figure, guys, people, the tyrants in the government, they're sick psychopaths. These people are twisted. They hunger for power. They have their ethics and morals are different from what we're taught. Okay. I don't know how these people can sleep at night, but you got to think of them as tyrants and psychopaths, criminals. And if you think about them, they are criminals. So if you want to think, what's the government going to do? Think, if I was a criminal with a criminal mind, what would I do? That's what's going to happen. Real simple. I don't know. I'm not going to make that call. You're glad Kevin's not here? Well, he's a busy guy. Explosive news, gasoline news. Oh, price of gas is a lot higher than it should be when you look at the price of oil. What else can I tell you? Christmas is coming, guys. Say hi to your family. Do a little bit of shopping. Start sending those Christmas cards. That's the other thing. Is Canada Post out on strike or not? How are we going to get our Christmas cards mailed? I guess they'll all be coming over the internet or text message Christmas cards. So much for that. So much for Christmas cards in the mail, eh? That's kind of done. Anything else, guys? Anything I'm not covering? Anyways, expect Bill C3 to be coming through. They're going to be cramming through a whole bunch of new draconian laws. And the Canadian government's Christmas present to you is communism. That's what they're going to be giving you guys and myself. I will be receiving from the Canadian government communism, fascism, corporatism, tyranny. That's what we're getting for Christmas, all of us. You can bank on that, guys. That's what's coming for Christmas. Why am I smiling? Because I've been saying people for years it's coming. They both scooped $1 million from GoFundMe and got seized. Okay, you're probably talking about Tamara Leach. I don't know personally. I haven't seen the documentation. I haven't seen the receipts. I'm not going to make that claim. Pat King, on the other hand, may know a lot more. That's why I was trying to get him on. This is stuff we're going to be talking about, along with his court case. When are they not on strike? I don't know. I hardly use the mail. I hardly even check the mail, quite frankly. Canada Post is insolvent. Rest in peace, Crown Corporations. Yeah, you got to look into the ties of the executives for Purolator and how they're tied into Canada Post. I don't know. I really don't care if 7-Eleven is closing in Canada. I haven't gone there in years. What am I going to go there for? Overpriced. Everything's overpriced there as far as I'm concerned. Big Gulp is just sugar and water and coloring, so I don't drink that either. So, do I care? Not really. If I need a lighter, maybe the odd time, but that's it. Ah, yes. Bird flu. Can't forget that. There's been a few reports that I've seen where people are getting sick and dying from H5N1, and I forget which variant it is. So apparently it's stepping into it's crossing from birds into people. So yeah. Is it real? Kind of doubt it. Is it another flu? Yep. Did it come from birds? I don't know. Show me the receipts. Show me the proof. Are they going to use this to lock us down and limit our freedoms? Oh, yeah. You can count on that. The ex-executive from Pfizer, Yaden, he's back. He's got videos going on already saying the virus never existed. It's all bullshit. It's all made up. And I think he's put a number on it. 17 million people have died worldwide because of the, the jibby jabs. Bye-bye big gulp and Slurpees. Yeah, if you care for them. I think you're better off just drinking, even fluoridated water might be better. Yeah, it is going to be like a COVID 2.0. And you know what? I haven't been sick. I've had sniffles a few times in the last 5 years. Last time I really remember being sick was spending time in bed was November of 2019. And something got me earlier this week and on the weekend. I don't know what the hell it was. Still recovering from it. So something's going on. Or maybe I haven't been taking all my vitamins and not eating properly. Yeah, I love Pat. Get him on. Me and Pat, we go back 2018, if you believe it. And we met at the first time we actually met. I can't remember if it was before United We Roll, which was 2018 or 2019 in Ottawa, 185 trucks. I was there with my dually, the scissor lift, and the flatbed trailer. And we were right at center stage with that. Antifa knows my brother's flatbed trailer, and they know my scissor lift, what it looks like. Kind of held them off there. But that's when I first really got to know Pat. Yeah, he's been bringing out all kinds of truth for years, way before me. D1.3, same strain from Edgewood in Ohio and Illinois is now Washington. Okay, that's what they're saying. They also said COVID was real. Fucking media lies to us all the time. How can we even trust these guys? How? That's okay. It's all cloned and printed meat now. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it is. But yeah, next scandemic. I think we'll have that for Christmas, New Year's. They got to do something because the Agenda 2030, it's not going as planned. And they did say there was going to be a SPARS pandemic many years ago. So they usually follow through on their plans. Like COVID was shelved for now? Yeah, I think the vaccine manufacturers want to keep injecting people. They're going to scare the shit out of us again. It's a okay. If you getting a hangover, stop drinking colored liquor. Drink the clear stuff, and drink the clear stuff with clear liquids. Don't mix wine, beer, vodka. You're asking for it. Drink some water before you go to bed. The things you talk about on our show. Okay, but genomic data. Okay. How come no one's been able to isolate the COVID virus in a human being? Not a one. Where's the genomic data there? Who knows if this genome stuff is even real? How do you know they didn't make that up? You ever notice how everything seems almost everything is a lie these days? Tired of this BS. So-called experts that can detect and cure invisible rubbish. Wake the fuck. Remember we had Dr. Lee Marin on? I pointed her in the direction that you should be checking out parasites instead of cancer. She did the link, and sure enough, why do parasitics cure cancer? Or is cancer just parasite poo left over, or parasites look like cancer? So I'm kind of wondering how good the microscopes are and who's actually doing this research. Look how much money they grift from the public for cancer research. And then you talk to other people that heal themselves with vandazepam, ivermectin, um, and many other things we're finding in nature are anti-cancer and anti-parasitic. Okay, not just what the media is saying. Unfortunately, H5N1 was created in labs back in 96, 97. Before that, we never had bird flu. Don't know. Or did they create a new super parasite? Or did they put some kind of toxin in the food? There's all kinds of shit they can do. Bioweapons do exist. Remember Billy Boy saying this one was a warm up, the next one will be deadly. Talking about Trey Dworkin, aka Bill Gates. Yep. He did say that. He also said if we do a really good job of vaccination, we can lower the world population by about 15%. Okay, so they're patented, but you think the patent office goes under a microscope and actually looks and does the checking? No, they submit the documents, assuming they're telling the truth. Someone else can come in and say, hey, that document is all wrong, so that patent's not in effect either. Patent offices don't check if viruses are real or if the bird flu is real. How can they? You file the patent, they look at it legally, does it make sense? Yep, paperwork sounds legit. Have they done the research to make sure there's nothing else like that in other patents? Have they done the searches? People just paid to do that? No? Okay, here's your patent. Health Canada's plans to use cloned meat has been halted for now after public backlash. Hashem, I hope that's true. But Beyond Beef has been on the market for years, and that was the plant-based one. It's the same as the television being patented as a mind-altering device. Got that true. And I've turned on my TV once in the last 7 years. Feel a lot better about things. You can see things a lot clearer. And I can also see how people get brainwashed by it. So yeah, it is mind-altering. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if they pay royalties for all the TVs that are made here or there or wherever. I don't know if I can trust them, though. The meat has changed for the worse these days. If you go to a butcher shop and you see beef with a yellow tinge to it, chances are it is actually grass, was eating grass. That's where the yellow color comes from. That's why they call it TV programming. Absolutely, Brenda. So who's shelving the meat? If Trump is going to be buying beef from Argentina, and America produces so much beef already, you've got land that's being bought up by corporate giants. It's sitting fallow, which means it's taken out of production. Hey, Brenda. Yeah, lands are being taken out of production, so the price of beef is going to go up. We had a lot of irregularities around beef pricing. This year, you're going to see a price of beef getting even higher, and they're culling chickens. Less chickens out there, more competition for the said chickens because the people want to keep eating the same amount of chickens. Less chickens out there to be sold, prices go up. Supply and demand, real simple. They did say that's halted due to the petition while they go through further review. Cloned meat. Awesome, guys. At least someone's on it. I'm not. I've got some good sources for beef. Oh, you know who's really good and they know their beef, and I don't think you would ever sell cloned beef or meat for that matter if you knew about it? Bill Fair. Should give him a plug. He's doing pretty good. Very busy, and I've bought beef from him. A little bit on the pricier side, just a wee bit more than Costco, but the quality was excellent and the taste was beautiful. And he'll cut it whatever thicknesses you want. You can order it, and I usually go there for his meat skewers on beef sticks. He donated thousands and thousands of skewers of meat to the convoy. I remember he had a whole van full once. Dropped it off, put it in the freezer. So that's why everybody's eating Bill Fair's souvlaki sticks for almost 3 days. If you're wondering where they're coming from, I believe it was him, but don't quote me. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Been a while in the past. Drove past a feedlot in Texas. Took an hour at highway speed. Over 1 million head. It's amazing, eh? Feedlots. And you know what? Economies of scale. Big farms, big open land, big, huge feed trucks. You minimize the labor, lower the input costs. That keeps the prices down for us. And the companies that own these things actually are a little bit more profitable. And if the government doesn't step in to screw things up, it works, I think, good for consumers, good for us, as long as there's competition that doesn't become a monopoly, which is what's happening because you got corporations buying in other corporations. I know the chicken industry in the States is controlled by about 3 or 4 corporations. So if you're a farmer and you've got this big building and you're making chickens, they tell you what to do and how you're going to do it. Unfortunately, it's worth it. Spend the extra. You are what you eat. That's not true, because if that was true, I'd have moose horns like a regular moose, or deer horns like a deer. Or maybe I wouldn't have any horns because I eat female deer. I'm not able to jump, even though I've had rabbit from time to time. I eat chicken. You see any feathers? No, eh? I'm not buying that one. But yeah, there's some truth. If you eat better quality food, you usually got a lot less issues. No, I'm down to my last 2 pieces from last year's moose, so I will not be having moose this year. We didn't shoot anything. What are you going to do? It'll be the first year without moose in a long time. But there's other wild game you can buy from farmers. It's farmed wild game. Might be better than regular meat, but it gets expensive. Bill Fair actually sells buffalo, elk. It's farm raised though. Oh, you've got it in the freezer. Good for you, Jay. Enjoy. You have to share some of your recipes. Me, I like moose roast, and I like stewing moose. Actually, moose goulash is fucking to die for. Really is. My mom taught me how to make that. I did not know you got a buffalo farm. I wonder what they want per pound for buffalo. Buffalo is awesome. I've had bison steak in Texas. Oh, to die for. Taste was great. The texture was awesome. Slow cooker all the way. Yeah, if you've got an old bull, slow cooker all the way, definitely. But sometimes, we've shot calves and it's just incredible, unbelievable. All right, guys. 55 minutes. No Pat King. Stefanos. He is out of his area. He's on a special mission. He was going to try to jump on tonight. I don't think he was able to set up his computer in time. I don't know what else to tell you. Expect to get him on next week, and I'll see if I can get Pat on a further commitment for next Thursday. Hopefully nothing happened to him. I hope it's not snowing or something up where he went. Don't know. I've never had yak meat. I know the Yak airplane's pretty cool. Z, what, you got a yo-yo? Hey, Z, what's going on? You had moose ribs yesterday. Good for you, Jay. I was talking to Pat yesterday. I spoke to him 2 days before that. I spoke to him a week before that. And all I can say is I hope nothing happened to his old truck. It's not like him. If he says he's going to come on, and I asked him twice, he says, yep, for sure, I'll be there. Something, I hope nothing nefarious happened. Are you in Ontario or are you in Alberta, Z? Where are you at? And what's Chris doing? I haven't spoken to Chris in years. Phyllis is in Kamloops. Hi, Phyllis. Good to see you alive, bro. Who, Z or me? Yeah, Kevin wouldn't share that with anyone. Kevin's a bit cheap when it comes to buying beef, I've noticed. He loves buying street meat when he's in Panama. He's thrilled the fact that he can get half a chicken for like $4 from a vendor this chicken's just street meat. The cheaper the better, and if it tastes good, he's even happier. You're on the west side of New York. West side of what? West side of Calgary, maybe. The best side. I don't know, whatever that is. All right, Z, where's Chris? Yeah, and it's all halal. Well, whatever. Whatever floats your boat, man. Oh, Calgary. Gave up on Ontario, eh? Yeah, Z came to visit me a few times. So I know Chris has been floating around Mexico, Colombia, I believe, or was it Brazil? Oh, so now that you're not as surety anymore, you don't keep up. You guys don't talk at all. What's up with that? You just where? Mexico for 3 weeks. Good for you. So you worked on your tent. Hopefully you ate well. What do you think of the food in Mexico compared to what we get? Okay, so you're confirming that Chris Sky is in Colombia as well. All right, guys, it's an hour. I'm going to shut her down. See you next week. Expect a better show. Sorry, things don't always work out as planned. He's a busy guy. Doesn't have time for us little people. Fuck that. I'm bigger than he is. A lot bigger. About 100 pounds bigger. And you know I'm bigger than he is. So that's not accurate for us little people, please. We need each other, guys. And we all got to get in the fight together to fight this tyrannical government. If you look at how society works, I do what I do, you do what you do, and it all comes together in the end. If we get no man is an island. And what they mean by that is, man, surviving on the own, going it alone, real tough. And if everyone worked that way, our standard of living would go to shit real fast. All right. Yeah, I'm doubling down on the. I'm taking 2 tablets in the morning, 2 tablets at night of B propolis. I'm doing 3,000 vitamin C in the morning, 3 in the evening. I'm also taking something my naturopath told me to take. Doing 60 drops in the morning, 60 drops in the evening. Man, I don't know. I just can't shake this damn thing. It's not like me. Land grab is scary. No treaties in those areas. That's the problem with that. If the land had treaties on it, which most of Canada does, wouldn't have this issue. But apparently they got sloppy when they got out of British Columbia. Moose withdrawals. Guys, I wouldn't worry about the land grab just yet. These things are going to go to a higher court. It'll get overturned, I'm sure of it. Property rights are guaranteed to us in the Constitution, not the Charter of Rights, which is a part of the Constitution. It's actually part of the Constitution, property rights. So as long as we keep challenging them with the Constitution, we'll do okay. And okay, so the natives do get control of that land. You can't kick off people that have put the, decades and decades and decades of infrastructure, roads, houses, buildings. You don't own that. You own the land. Look at the one coming in. We're talking about what, the treaty or something? Actually, are you talking about the treaty that's around that is the Thames River that runs through Kitchener? They've been fucking walking all over that one, left, right, and center. The natives have the right. The Grand River, I believe it was. There is a treaty in effect, and that treaty has been stomped on all over the place. So whoever was releasing those properties, unless they got something written somewhere, some deal was cut somewhere, making it legal. Eesh. I know Stefanos has been working on the Grand River Treaty and helping out those natives. You make a deal, honor the deal. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, I'm going to call it good night. I got to work tomorrow. Have yourselves a good weekend. Be careful at the farmers' protest. I don't know who's organizing this, so I'm a little leery. What's going on with this farmers' protest? It seems to have come out of nowhere. If someone can do some digging and find out who's organizing it, I'd love to know. Anyways, good night. See you next week.